All right, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I'd like to discuss the journey into Satanism, or I should say, the personal path of a Satanist. Now, there are many different traditions of Satanism that is out there. A lot of people are aware of the atheistic viewpoints of, say, the Church of Satan. Now, to be frank, a lot of people within Satanism do not go by the mandates of the Church of Satan. They don't even view them as being Satanists or even a satanic organization. Instead, a lot of theistics and traditionalists and spiritualists view them more as atheists playing a form of stupidity. Namely, because of the fact they preach the 9 satanic sins, the 9 satanic statements, the 9 satanic views, but also the 11 satanic rules of the earth and the 21 satanic statements. But yet they forget the past orthodoxies. Okay? They forget that through their own duality, they have basically made themselves a newt. Basically, they've created a form of duality, of hypocrisy. Atheist and Satanism, same thing. The answer is they are not the same thing. And a lot of people do not understand the difference between the falsicities of atheistic Satanists and that of actual Satanism. Those who believe in black magic, those who believe in an actual Satan, an actual proverbial bad guy, the scapegoat, Azazel, okay? Satan, Lucifer, whatever you want him to be as a proverbial bad guy. Basically, he is the scapegoat for the church. He is the scapegoat when they are confronted. But anyways, atheistic Satanism is not a path of Satanism. It is not a recognized satanic path. However, there are paths of Satanism that do influence a state of physical gratification that may incorporate themselves into a state of atheistic personalities or traits themselves, I should say. For an example, the devices of Satanism in itself can be brought down into 5 different categories. The number one thing is devotion. Okay? Devotion is what you see in traditional Satanism, what you see in spiritual Satanism, and that which is in theistic Satanism. So these 3 categories of Satanism truly believe in a deitas, okay, a deity, a divine entity that we worship, that we pray to. And we also pray to his demons. We worship these demons, these entities. We call on them. We make every opportunity to study, to practice, and most importantly, we call on them. We think about them. Okay, we give offerings. Now, this is a whole nother category within a form of devotion that is misunderstood. Okay, and I'm going to touch on this as well in a little while. But devotion is one of the main things in Satanism. It helps define the satanic thought form, either within a coven setting or that of, say, for an example, an individual setting. Okay, you do not have to be a part of a coven, a temple, in order. You know, you don't have to be a part of any one of these things if you don't want to. In fact, Satanists are lone, solitary practitioners. Does it not mean that we cannot be around others like us, with like minded thoughts? No. It doesn't mean we can't associate with others like us, okay? Because we can. The whole thought form of getting together as a community, such as a church, an order, or an organizational type fundamental commandment, a standing, such as for an example, let's take the Judeo-Christian Church, the Catholic Church. Okay, these things are all good, when they're worshiping and stuff. But here's the thing: like them, it becomes corrupted. It becomes less about deity and more about monetary gain. And we see this within many organizations today. For an example, when we talk about the Church of Satan, back in the 1960s, the Church of Satan was actually a devil worshiping organization. By the mid 1970s, it had actually transversed from being a spiritual, a traditional, a physical worshiping entity to a bigger god, such as Satan himself, Lucifer, Belial, and Leviathan. You can look this up in the Satanic Bible by Anton Zandaleve. You can actually see in the book of Book of Belial, where it calls upon the oath, or I should say, the summoning of Satan for an invocation. Basically, the declaration of intent is what they refer to it as. And any Bible that is out there literally shows this. They show the four main deities. And it's very, very interesting because of the fact that in some cases it is Satan, Lucifer, Belial, and Leviathan. Whereas in another, say for an example, let's go with the Red Book of Appin, it is Samael, Lilith, Astaroth, and Naama. Okay, which is very interesting. And what's interesting here is that not all groups worship the same four crown princes. Now, in Turk Suzej's book, The Demonic Bible, not only do we see these princes seen as elementals, such as Satan being of fire, Lucifer being of air, Belial, earth, and Leviathan, water. But this can also go back to a much older tradition, that of the Necronomicon by the Mad Arab. Okay, when we think of Shamatu, okay, the time of Shamatu is actually in January and February, where Venus sets in the west and rises in the east. Okay, therefore Leviathan's setting and Lucifer's rising. Okay, this is normally done between the 15th and the 18th of the month. Okay, otherwise known as the time of Aquarius. Okay, and it wasn't until later, when the Roman or the Greek aspects got involved, that we ended up seeing the aspects of Lucifer within the Roman deity. But even his story got corrupted, and we see the same duality and the same characteristics as that of the Greek Titan or the Greek god himself, Prometheus, okay, being disciplined by the chief god, okay. Lucifer, according to Christian mythology, was cast out of heaven. He fell like lightning, like a ball of light. This is Isaiah 14:12. Okay. Now, when we go into, say, for an example, that of the Quran, we see another variation of Lucifer in the state of a bliss. Okay. A bliss is the god who basically did not want to bow down to mankind. He referred to himself as a being forged of fire and clay, whereas he was, because he was born of fire, he was not considered to be inferior to a mankind, because mankind was, according to the Quran and the Hebraic systems, to have been placed just below the angels. Okay, so instead of being seen as different and as to bow down to Adam and Eve, or that of Lilith and Adam, okay, which is in chapter 1, okay, of the book of Genesis, we see where he basically left heaven with a bunch of other angels. These became known as the tens of tens, or the tens of thousands. Okay, the fallen angels that are spoken of within Genesis chapter 6. Okay, the book of Enoch even backs this up. Okay, the Talmud backs this up. Even the Jewish Haggadah. Okay, and you see how it started a war front between the sons of darkness and that of the sons of light. This is found in the scroll of Amram within the Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay, so devotion to these beings, depending if you are of the right hand path or the left hand path, really discerns who you want to be. Okay, now as I said, the Church of Satan has now moved into a couple of different arenas. They started out as physical devil worshippers, and this can be viewed through the entire Bible itself, wanting God dead or alive. Okay, this is in big bold letters, I might add. Okay, between the book of Satan and the book of Lucifer. Okay, well, let's go into the book of Belial. In the book of Belial, you actually see a lot of different things. Okay, one of which is the invocation to Satan, where he calls on the actual four princes. Satan being the number one, the Hebrew meaning opposer or adversary. Lucifer, the bearer of light. Belial, the darkness. Okay. And then Leviathan, the ancient serpent. Okay. And these beings, you see how they literally have come to be as physical entities through them. Okay. Even through their histories, going all the way back to the Chaldeans, which predate Canaanites. Okay. So to know your history, to know where these beings actually come from, the region of the world that they were worshipped in, how they were worshipped in, in these areas, is something that's very, very good to know. So devotion really plays a huge part in this. All right. So for the Church of Satan to say, well, there is no God, there is no Satan, there is no heaven or hell, you're basically saying, I'm an atheist, not a Satanist. But with these other groups, such as theistics, traditionalists, demonologists, or I should say, what do they call themselves nowadays? It's well, demonolators. There we go. Who worship demons, who study demons, who work with demons. Okay, these are more traditionalists. They're Luciferianism. Okay. And Luciferianism, in some aspects, is also in the same category as the Church of Satan, namely to say that every demon is Lucifer or a mask of Lucifer. For an example, Lucifer and Satan are the two beings that Luciferian Satanism is wrapped around. Okay? This is even explained in the adversarial Bible as being masks of whatever the need is of the individual Satanist. Okay? Within Luciferianism. Now, a lot of people follow Michael W. Ford's work. Hell, I'm a huge fan of his work. Okay? And I'll be the first one to tell you that his methods actually do work when it comes to the physical nature of the individual. And that's exactly what it is. So, much in the same way, those of you, let me put it to you this way, those of you who actually went to church, okay, or who actually grew up in a church, know what I mean when I say that when they see Satan or any other demon, they just simply call it Satan. It is just a simple mask of Satan. It is one being pretending to be multiple. Okay? But in Luciferianism, it is a whole nother concept. Okay? And by reading the adversarial Bible and the works of Michael W. Ford's books out there, from the Luciferian witchcraft, or that of the adversarial Bible, what is it, the scales of the serpent, and then pacts with the devil. There's a lot of different aspects to it. But when you think of the masks of, say, Satan, he's classified as the darker aspects of the coin, whereas Lucifer is the mask of the light, the enlightenment. So therefore, they are one and the same being, just different sides of the proverbial coin. Okay? And when you get into demonolatry and you start moving into hermeneutics, this same devotion can be seen within the 10 spheres of that tree of life. Okay? Each demon, or each classification of demons, or classifications of angels, can be viewed as a particular mask of these two entities. Okay? But again, it's breaking it down into your specific needs as an individual. Okay? Now, theistic traditional Satanism is more hardcore. Traditional Satanism is very hardcore. The ONA deals with a lot of psychological aspects. It deals with the third eye. It deals with the imagination. It deals with astrology, alchemy, and solar and planetary, the universal aspects. It allows you to expand your horizons, okay, through worshiping these entities. Now, the second classification of a Satanist would be that of resilience. Now, what does this mean exactly? Resilience is one of those things where when you begin your path, you're going to find that you're going to be finding adversities. People are going to turn on you. They're going to try to save you, such as the church. Okay? When they find out you're a Satanist, they're like, oh my God, you're a devil worshiper. We don't want anything to do with the devil because we want to go to heaven. Okay? Therefore, they'll try to ban you from stores. They will try to increase the products at stores so that you will be paying twice the amount that anyone else is going to do. They will put out restraining orders against you so you can't step foot on church premises, or that of, say, for example, any property owned by the church or city, such as that of, say, a cemetery owned by a church, or that of a funeral home that is run by Catholic ministers. Okay, if you become a clergy and you've excelled at what you do, you're going to find another form of adversities, because chaplains are most likely Catholic in origin and they're hardcore. Okay, set against the devil and all adversarial ways. Okay. And so adversities are going to arise. You're going to find things that are challenges. You're going to go through trials, hard times. You're going to be challenged. You're going to be attacked. Okay. And a lot of things within Satanism is that even in my own personal experience, my life has been threatened. I have been basically banned from stores because I'm a Satanist. Okay. I have been basically, I had a Catholic minister, a bishop, buy the property that I was living in, unaware that I had left just 3 days prior. Okay. But that he ended up buying a crap hole because, the tenant that owned the place really didn't keep it up to date. Okay. So he basically paid, I don't know how much money just to buy a property that was worthless. Literally. Um, so you're going to find this stuff. I mean, people are going to threaten to burn down your home. They're going to threaten to imprison you. They're going to threaten to make you disappear. This is the adversities that I'm talking about. Okay. So you're going to need resilience to even begin to be on this path. I've always said that Satanism is not for the faint of heart. You're going to be a hermit. You're going to be the Hierophant, okay? But you're also going to be the magician, okay? And Satanism is more than what a lot of people realize, and I'm going to get into this as well. The third aspect of Satanism, and especially your journey into it, is that of clarity. Those of you who have come from, say, the Hebraic systems, or that of lesser white light, darker light, projects such as Wicca or Wiccan belief systems, that of paganism, even. These are another classifications of resilience and devotion. They're not any lesser or greater than Satanists. They're just considered to be the lighter aspects of the left-hand path, but especially within the discipline area. Okay. But clarity, you really have to go into this as, you know what, all these other faiths have let me down. The world has let me down. I've got to be all about me. But if I'm going to be working with, say, Satan, I'm going into this with a clear mind and a clear, train of thought so that I can master all things, so that I can become more than what I am now. Okay. If you come from a dirt poor family, Satanism is a way for you to embrace all aspects of your life, to gain control over it. It'll help you find discipline. It will help you find maturity, but it will also help you be able to separate yourself as though somebody has ripped that veil right, you know, from your eyes. Think of having horse blinders on. You're only used to seeing straight ahead. But once those horse blinders are removed, you're going to see with a state of clarity in all aspects of a 180-degree turn. And what's interesting about this concept is that clarity allows you to have better insight. Frank White from the Order of the Grails, he once he recently, as of this past year, I want to say it was November, December area, did 4 or 5 videos on YouTube that literally talked a lot about how to meditate and what you can gain from meditation. What does it do for you? One of the biggest things is it lowers stress, but it also allows you to take into consideration all aspects of things that have happened to you in your own life, things that you're dealing with from situations. That's the type of clarity that I'm talking about. Okay. It allows you to kind of take that step back from any issue, contemplate on that issue, and see it with a clear foresight. And once you've been able to clearly see that within a state of clarity, then you can make a plan on how to go forth from there to achieve your goals, be it money, to be it getting a job. And one of these things, and this actually falls into the same category as resilience and devotion. Working with, say, for an example, the Nine Kings can open things up for you in a lot of different ways through persuasion, through sciences, and through knowledge. Okay. And a lot of these beings, such as, say, for an example, Belial. Belial is known as the master. Okay. He who has no master. Therefore, he can teach you how to be your own master. Whereas, say, for an example, Paimon can help by persuading men's minds. Asmodee can help you through your own desires. Okay. Dagon or Shirazon. Okay. Nowadays, he's known as Leviathan. Okay, for an example, can help you find riches. Dragons are always around treasure. Okay, be it physical treasure, be it job type treasure where you can actually go in and get a job and make more money. Okay, perhaps try to find something through a lottery. You know, wisdom, knowledge, understanding. You know, that type of clarity. And then you have autonomy. Autonomy is more of getting around people with like-minded, you know, adventures, things that you know, the way you think, the way you guide yourself, the way you want to be. For an example, you take E.A. Koetting's work, for an example. He has surrounded himself with like-minded individuals, such as Frank White, S. Ben Cayenne, J.D. Temple, Curtis Joseph, Stephanie Connolly Reeser. Okay. And I can go into other individuals as well. But these are just to name a few. Okay. I mean, people who know me know those that I associate with. Okay. My brother Brian Snelling. Okay. Who started out as an atheistic Satanist and he's now moved into a theistic and then a Luciferian. And now he's a traditionalist and he's expanding his mind, his works, and he's literally reaping these rewards because of the fact that he's gotten into that devotion. He's gotten into the worshiping stage, but he's also getting into it for a personal nature. Okay. My brother Percival, okay, he runs his own order. Okay. We think alike. We got the same goals in mind. Okay. All three of us kind of create that quadritra. Okay. The three the three in one godhood right here in what is called the microcosm. Okay. The little God aspect. And I apologize for the cats. They got a mind of their own. But anyways, my point is this: getting around like-minded individuals and what is called the microcosm aspect will help you further your knowledge, your understanding, and your wisdom. Because of the fact that when you bring multiple people together, you see where they're coming from. Okay. I've got friends in the Hebraic systems. Okay. Yeah, I'm friends with a guy by the name of Mike Smith. He's from Mount Pleasant, Texas. He's a Baptist. Interesting fellow. Okay. He and I have actually sat down. We've had dinner together when I was down there in Texas, and of course his goal has always been to try to convert me. But again, my resilience devotion is to Satan, to Azazel, and to the demons. Okay, so we're both on the opposite sides, the opposing forces. But it doesn't mean you don't respect one another because you're learning from them. Okay. Up here in where I am right now in Maine, I've got friends. I got a Baptist friend who's John. He and his wife, John and Susan D'Angelo, run a Baptist church up in Old Town. And he and I have actually talked cult. We've talked Christian. We've actually talked ancient scrolls. We've talked about the ancient works from like Babylonian, Sumerian, Akkadian, Egyptian, Greek, Mesopotamian, even Persian, Syriac, you name it. We've talked about it. We've gone into this, to the rituals. We've gone into, a lot of different areas. So, and then you have Wade Townley, who was an evangelist, an apostolic evangelist, to be precise, out of Arizona. Now, originally, he's from what I understand, he and his dad are from Louisiana, Kentucky area. No, not Kentucky, but Louisiana. What the hell's the name of that state? Oklahoma area. Okay. His wife is actually from Little Rock. Okay. Hell of a woman. She's strong, independent. She'll whoop your ass if you get out of line. She'll put you right in right in your place. Literally. I mean, you curse once and she'll be on your ass. Literally, just telling, be like a Catholic nun with a ruler. Hilarious, but still. But I've sat down with Wade Townley. He's actually the one that got me into ministry and got me on the path of becoming an elder. And this is almost a decade ago. So I mean, this is like half a decade ago. And when I actually got my my minister's license. And he and I've known each other for just about 10 years. And he taught me quite a bit about being an elder and about a minister's responsibility, but also how clergy has been seen throughout the history, be it through the witch trials, the burning times, the holy wars, the crusades, medieval times, all the way back into the Roman times through the Pharisees. And what's interesting to note is that this has actually led into other areas such as Druidism, okay, that of voodooism and hoodooism, where priests and priestesses were seen, as being elders, the leaders of covens, or just plain individuals, be it a regular priest or priestess or that of a boko or bokor, depending on the tradition. You got the classifications of a priest within Palo Mayombe as a Polero, okay? So I mean, there's a lot of different classifications here within that, okay? But then you have other aspects, such as say for an example, I made satanic friends within various different orders. Okay, I'm friends with Percival Carr. Recently he changed his name yet again. Offhand, I can't remember it offhand, but um, anyways, he runs the Defenders of Satan out in Seattle, or just outside of Seattle, Washington. I mean, I've got friends who's associated with the Temple of Astarte. I've got friends in the Brotherhood of Satan. Okay, the Joy of Satan. And most recently, I become friends with a couple members who were formal members of a satanic, the Temple of Satan. Who are now associated with an organization by the name of the Ancient Church of God. They're not really Christians; they're more interested in the knowledge. And a lot of people get that, when they hear the term Ancient Church of God, they think, oh, they're Christians. Well, the answer is no, they're not Christians. They've risen above adversities. They've risen above diversities. They've, divisions, and they've gone solely into sorcery, much like E.A. Koenig, Ben Cayenne, and all the others that I've named off in this video alone. And that's something for you to work for. Okay, which also brings us to the fifth thing, which is wisdom. Okay, what is wisdom? But what you make it, within your knowledge? Where does your path take you as an individual? Okay. Now, with wisdom, it is said that you have to have wisdom to have understanding, and you have to have understanding to understand the knowledge. Okay. And this is a true fact. Okay. When you do something in life, you gain wisdom from it. Okay. What's that old saying by Jeff Foxworthy? You know, when he was talking about kids putting a penny in a light socket, hurts, don't it? Won't do that no more. Same thing applies. You just learned from an event. Okay. When you experiment within any tradition, within any aspect of Satanism, demonology, angelology, be it Hermetics, be it Druidism, be it Kabbalistic, be it the Qliphoth, be it any faith, whatever you want it to be. Okay, whatever path you relate to as an individual will take you along a journey into your satanic individual viewpoint. Okay, you will gain insight, you will gain knowledge and wisdom and understanding within all aspects, because once you start to apply yourself through devotion, you'll start to study, you'll start to understand, you'll start to experiment. One of the things that I praise E.A. Quenning for is the fact that when he first started out, he got into the Necronomicon by Simon. And he actually first went out and did a ritual, and it failed. Now, he spent the next 3 months, according to him in one of his videos, he spent the next 3 months breaking that book down, studying page by page by page. And when he went back, he actually got a reply, a response. Okay. And a lot of this is through devotion, dedication. Okay. But it's also through your own personal studies. Now, earlier I mentioned about offerings. I mentioned about spiritualism within the arcane aspects. Okay. Now, here is where I'm going to get into that. Okay. Every religion has a form of light versus dark. Okay. Constantinos, actually, in his book Nocturnal Witchcraft, he created what is called the equal armed cross. Okay. Now, if you take a cross and an equal armed cross, like a plus sign, and you draw a circle where that circle is touching the 4 points, on one hand, it could become a compass. Okay. North, south, east, and west. Okay. But here's the thing, it could also be a compass for other things: good, evil, light, dark. All right. But it could also be the 4 soul types: good, light, dark, light, dark, evil, dark. Just because you fall on the darker shades of things doesn't make you evil. It just simply makes you somebody who's willing to learn. It just makes you a little bit darker. Now, here's the key: devotion, resilience, clarity, autonomy, and wisdom fall into this. Okay? When you start devoting yourself to any particular branch of Satanism, and you begin your journey through resilience and dedication and study and practice and worship, you start getting stronger. You start learning how to defend yourself, to protect yourself. But you also end up learning to make those connections, be it from other Satanists, other religionists, but also through demonic worship, okay, or angel worship, the jinn worship, okay, knowing what being that you're working with or that you're dedicating yourself to. There are 2 applications here. One, You form an alliance with that individual. Okay. You start worshiping and dedicating yourself to that study. Okay. That particular branch, that particular being. You find new ways to praise, either through song and ritual, or by praising that individual deity, that being, and going on with your journeys, learning from that being. Okay. This is a form of relationship that you're making with this being. Okay. Now, when you make a pact or you make a deal with a being, such as Satan, Lucifer, say for an example, I don't know, Azazel. Okay. Be it now, if you want to make a pact, you can go with Lucifer's Raphael, or you can go with Mephistopheles. Same being, just different name. But here's the thing: when you make a deal or a pact with one of these beings, you need to uphold it. You need to represent yourself within that deal, that pact. For an example, if you want to learn witchcraft or demonic sorceries, and in exchange for that knowledge, you offer yourself as an offering to that specific deitas, that demon or that angel, as an apprentice, or as a sorcerer, a warlock, a wizard, a sage, a mage, whatever title you want to give yourself, okay, or that you've earned by that being, it is a form of offer. It's a, if you do this, I will do this. Okay. I can tell you that I've made deals with demons and angels where it's required me to go from one side of this country to another. Hell, I've gone into other countries. I've gone to Mexico, Canada, okay, just on faith alone. And it has benefited me in so many things because I've met Poleros. I have met Bruja and Brujos, within Santeria. I have met voodoo priests and priestesses. I've met a few bocos and bocors in my travels. I've met people from various different traditions, different races, even different tribal aspects that have aided me within my journey as a Satanist. And it has made me better because I've learned from people, but I've also learned from the Ugan, the Loa, and the demons and the angels. Because building a relationship with them allows you to grow within them. They begin to trust you. They begin to aid you in helping you create a better life for yourself, for your families. Okay. And this is something that a lot of people don't understand because they think it's all about blasphemy. They think it's, well, playing the bad guy badge to the church. It really is not. The only time you want to blasphemy is through the right of how should I say this? The right of rejection. Okay, is what I call it. It's more of the fact that you're rejecting your former religion. You're rejecting your former life to begin anew. Okay, and when you do that, you place yourself in front of these new beings, and you're saying, "Hey, I'm dedicating my life to this particular study. Okay, I want to learn and I want to grow, and in exchange for the knowledge that you can provide me, or those that you put in my path, it's allowing me to grow and mature within this path. The journey that I'm now going to dedicate myself to is with you and you alone." Okay, so right there, you're making a dedication, you're making a pact, but then you want to give back. Now, a lot of people frown on what is called blood sacrifice or blood sorcery because a lot of people today don't have the stomach for old sorcery practices. They frown on it, in fact. The blood of a rat, your own personal blood. Does that mean you just cut your wrist. No. There are easier ways to do it. Okay? For example, taking a pin. Pagans and Wiccans do it all the time through their rites. A pin to the forefinger of the left hand. 3 drops of blood. There's your offering. Now, if you're not afraid of a little pain, you can cut right here on your forearm. It's much more easier. There's not many veins. There's no veins there. You're not really going to be cutting too deep. And it's a way for you to bleed on the altar. Trust me, when the first time you hear a voice that is not your own coming just behind your head, it's going to freak you out. And it's going to scare the living crap out of you, where you're going to just sit there and you're going to jump, and then all of a sudden you're going to look to see who the hell's in my altar room. Because especially when you already know, wait a minute, I'm home alone. So where did that voice come from? Well, it's not one of these furballs, I can tell you that. And that's what I'm talking about here. Worship, devotion, study, practice, the applications of applying what you learn to your lives. There is no easy button that you can push to say, well, guess what? I'm going to push this and go straight to being a billionaire. No. You have to work at it. You have to dedicate yourself to it. And that is Satanism. It is the path that is lonely. It is a path of hardship. And that's why I said it is not for the faint of heart. And a lot of people don't understand this. They'll sit there and attack each other. This is a state of diversity. It is a state of adversities, blasphemies. It's just being reverse Christians. Satanism has nothing to do with Christianity. It has nothing to do with what they do. Because even Christians are going against their own Bible. Islamics are going against the Quran. Atheistic Satanists are going against their own Bible, the Satanic Bible by Anton Szandor LaVey. This is to keep you separate. It is meant to keep you in line, to keep you separated from the truths. For you to rise, you must have clarity. You must have resilience to continue on your way, to continue learning, growing, maturing, constantly studying, constantly practicing. I've been doing this since I was 11 years old. I'm now 39 years old. That's 28 years I've been practicing. And it's taken me a long time to get to where I am today. But it doesn't make me better than you. It doesn't make you better than me. Alistair Notch, a very well-known theistic Satanist and spokesperson for his coven, has written many books on the respect of Satanism and what it means to be a Satanist. What does it mean to approach the outer sanctum of your altar? What does it mean to show respect when you go in to the inner sanctum, to begin your rites, your rituals, your ceremonies? There's a form of respect, but also accountability. When you begin your journey into Satanism, you're going to learn that what you put out is, in return, what you get back. You're going to be judged by demons. You're going to be judged by the world. And you're going to have to prove yourself worthy. That's resilience. No matter how many people attack you, how many people threaten your life, you're going to have to stand firm in what you believe as an individual. because that is what it comes down to. Satanism is the path of individuality, the hermit in the major arcana and tarot card readings. You are the hermit, but through wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, you become the Hierophant. Through practice and dedication, you become the magician. You become the Lord, the God. You become the sorcerer of demonic sorceries. And believe me when I tell you that these demons, these entities, will only help you so far. Because they're going to, like any being, they're going to cut the umbilical cord. And you're going to be on your own. Like a newborn, you're no longer attached to your mother's womb. You have to learn to breathe on your own. You have to learn to get stronger. You have to learn to forge yourself in the sorceries, to the studies and the practices of both mystics and magic, not to be mistaken for magic with a K. I'm talking the magic with just the C at the end. We're not illusionists. We're Satanists. And that is what you're going to be getting into if this is the path that you choose. So think on this. Contemplate on this. Go into your altar rooms if you have them. Meditate. Contemplate on what's been said here. And grow. Because there are a number of different demonic Bible. There's a number of different satanic Bibles out there, from demonic Bibles to the vampiric Bible to satanic Bibles. You know, Robert Fries has one out that just about is nothing more than a big orgy in a book. Really, it's called Satan's Bible. I mean, don't get me wrong. The guy's, the book's pretty cool. I mean, it's unique when it's written. When he wrote it, the way he wrote it is quite unique. It's not like others. But then you have Reverend Cesar 999, his vampiric Knights Church. Nothing more than a Bible that attacks other people. It limits themselves to that particular sect. The Demonic Bible by Turk Suzej. Very good and unique Bible, built off the Thelema system of Aleister Crowley, and many, many more. He's taken it from a Luciferian point of view, but also a demonic point of view, a theistic point of view, and a traditionalist point of view, and turned it into both black magic and invocation and evocation. Very good book. But you've also got other Bibles out there, such as the Christian and Satanic Bible by Jeremy Adam Katz. Before you step foot in the arena of a Satanist, I would recommend that you go out and check into all these books, all these references. Read them a few times through. I would recommend reading them at least 2 or 3 times, one per month. Okay? And just contemplate on them. Take down some notes. Take a journal. Write down your thoughts, your feelings. How did this book make you feel? Did it intrigue you? Is this the path that you want to follow? And go from there. Same thing applies with any of these other Bibles. There's actually one that I just recently came across that is from a theistic Bible. It's called the Unholy Bible. Very good book so far. And I do recommend it as well because of the fact that it's unique in its goetic point of view. It's based off the Lesser Keys of Solomon, the Goetia, the 9 Kings, Satan, the Demonic Bible. Very good so far. And there's a lot of point of views in this that I actually do agree with. But like I said, I've been studying a long time. I've gone into other areas. I've gone into many different traditions. And the one thing that I can tell you is that you have to make it your own. You have to go with what relates to you as an individual and where you want to take it. Because that's what it comes down to. What is the source to you? And how do you want to utilize it? How do you want to apply it to your life? To do that, you must have the understanding, the wisdom, and the knowledge to even begin to derive what path you want to begin to go down. So again, the journey into Satanism is a desolate road, lonely road, and it's one that only the strong will survive. Point in case right there. Not many people can hack this road. Even in the El Jawah, it clearly states that my children are few in number. One Satanist against a legion of Christians. Wow. Awesome. So go into the references that I've mentioned here. Do your own studies. Don't take my word for it, but do your own studies. Don't do it because I told you to, but do it because it relates to you. Plain and simple. Do your own research because nobody else is going to do it for you. Someone like me will simply share a link with you. You know, as Connolly once said, instead of repeating yourself, just share a link. This is why she does videos. This is why she writes books. So she doesn't have to repeat herself. And to be frank, those of us who's been in this a long time will tell you how many times we've had to repeat ourselves to morons who don't listen, who don't learn. You got people who claim to be witches. You got people who claim to be Satanists, and yet they don't know what a book of shadows is, especially the abbreviation of BOS. A BOS, Book of Shadows. You got people who contact us from third world countries, such as Nigeria, for an example. How do I become a Satanist to become part of the Illuminati? Well, dumbass, why the hell are you contacting a Satanist for? Satanism has nothing to do with the Illuminati. The Illuminati doesn't exist. It's nothing more than con artists trying to steal your money. Plain and simple. My own apprentice found that out firsthand himself. And I can't tell you how many others have come to me just telling me the same thing. It's been 2 years, 3 years. I haven't seen a dime back. Did you learn from it? Because that's what Satanism is. It's about growing. It's about nurturing yourself. It's about growing, maturing, learning from your mistakes, and not making the same mistake twice. Learn the satanic sins. Learn the material. There's plenty of books out there, both on eBay, Amazon, Wish, Bull Moose Music, Books of a Million. Look into them. Hell, you can do a 2-minute Google search, type in Satanism, Satanism and types of Satanism. Same thing. You'll learn, grow, do your own research before you reach out. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. So with that said, that has been this video on Journey into Satanism. Okay? Hope it's been enlightening. Hope it's been educational. And I hope you do look into those resources or the references I've mentioned. And with that said, this Dark Sorcerer is out. Enjoy.